Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode, our third episode of our podcast series, Hurry Up and Tech, HUAT, or HUAT. We haven't figured it out yet. We're still playing with it. But as always, we are excited to come to you and talk about our newest matters of stuff going on in the tech world. My name's Randy. We're joined with Mike. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm awake, and I'm ready to just knock some stuff out.
Awesome.
And,
Let's do it.
Yeah, today we're actually going to kind of start off in a different category, social media. And more specifically, we're going to talk about Facebook and their latest update that they've implemented both on desktop and in the mobile devices, which is the new Facebook-like emojis or emoticons. If anybody, I mean, if you're part of tech at all, I'm sure you have a Facebook, you may have noticed that we have these brand new options besides like. People were complaining. What I really find interesting about this, take a step back, is that people, for the longest time, I want a dislike button. And that was like the biggest thing that they wanted. We got to like, give me a dislike button. A rating system, just like you would have on YouTube or Reddit, Tumblr. There's so many other people that pretty much utilize the like dislike thing to kind of rank comments and stuff for better or for worse. Twitter was the only one that just had a favorite, and then Instagram, but Instagram's owned by Facebook, so I don't really count that. But Facebook heard our pleas, our cries, and they said no. Instead of giving us a dislike button, they gave us everything but a dislike button. Now we have like, we have love, we have a ha-ha, we have a wow, we have a sad face, and then we have an angry face. But there is no dislike button. And if I could comment just by marking something, I would give it an angry face for not giving a dislike button, because that's all I wanted.
So you would have preferred the dislike button. Just have a like and a dislike.
I get it, why we have a love and a ha-ha, but yes, I think simplistic is far more effective than having different modes of I like something, or this makes me sad, or this makes me... Really, all you have is two more not happy ones, which is sad and angry. Yeah. And for me personally, I feel like it's a way that they're kind of sugarcoating it because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If you don't like something, it's either because it makes you angry or it makes you sad, they say. And if it's neither of those, then you have no business commenting or responding to a post that you see on Facebook. And I get it from that point. I just don't agree with it.
Interesting, because I'm the opposite. I actually really like what they did.
Really? Tell me.
No, I like that. So I think Zuckerberg's whole outlook on the dislike button is he wants to keep everything positive, right?
Right.
He doesn't want to have that negative, like, okay, I just got fired from my job, dislike, right? Yeah, that makes sense. But there's other things like if you post something on there and you hit dislike, okay, now the person's like might feel bad about themselves. So
hey, guess what? I'm pregnant again. Dislike.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that. I think he's trying to keep with the theme of, okay, let's keep it positive. Let's not go into the negative dislike realm, and we'll give you the sad and the angry. And those are probably the two best negative ones they have. And from what I read was they tested this quite a bit, and these are the ones that tested the highest. And I don't know, I like them. I've been using them quite a bit. I think they did on the tech side of things, the way they implemented it, how you just, on the mobile app, it's just you press and then it pops up and you choose which one you want.
Right.
And as you scroll over them, it tells you what it is. Wow.
It has a little animation to it as well.
It has a little animation to it. And the same with on the desktop. You just scroll over the like and it pops up, and then you can pick which one you want. I think it's very well executed. They did a really good job with it, and I actually like all the new emotions you can throw at posts now.
I will say that I have, for the past, it's been out for maybe a week, right? I would say
about a week.
Yeah, about a week. I would say that um, I actively try to utilize the other functions when I find it appropriate. Then just a quick like. Prime example, if I see a video that's actually making me laugh, I'll put the haha. I have yet to use sad or angry. I have yet to use. I think I've used wow once, maybe, and I don't even remember. I use like, I use love when I'm trying to be a little bit more affectionate towards something, and I use haha quite often. But um, even then, sometimes I kind of forget because really it's so natural for you to just go up like when you're going on your phone that only when I'm like, oh wait, I gotta hold it down. So I tried. Prime example, 2 days ago, my birthday. I make it a habit that I try to respond to everybody. If somebody takes the time to say, "Hey, happy birthday," even if it's HBD, and that's all they put, no, nothing. They took the time to do that. I always say I'll take the time to respond.
Yep, I'm the same exact way on my birthday. Yeah, I have to respond to all of them.
I know it's like saying thank you. So
Yeah,
I'm going
absolutely.
through, and at one point I had to hit just like. But every now and then, if somebody said something really funny and it distracted me, I put a haha or something. So I am trying to use it, and I do like the other features. But all we wanted was a dislike for something, and I get it. Okay, keep it positive. Let's not have a hurts feeling report on our desk tomorrow morning with this new stuff. And I do get it. However, maybe it's because I want to see a bummed one, or maybe I want to see a no, you're wrong one. I know it has to be objective. You can't have something that's just basically saying, you suck. Though I would like to have something like that. But I think it's because my personality is a little bit more direct like that. So I want to have something that says, no, this is, for example, politics. If it doesn't matter.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you believe in or what your stance is about something. You're going to have people that agree with you and disagree with you. And if someone says, go Hillary, I don't think sad or angry is going to be the proper response for me. I think if I can have, ticked off, flames in the background and saying that you're going, to hell for doing something like this, I would like that one. Or, people talking about, same thing with Trump. So they go like, oh, hey, Trump is going to now have Mexico pay the wall 20 feet even higher now. I think it's appropriate response to put a ha-ha because I really can't take anything he says seriously. But I feel like people who don't agree with Trump are going to want to put their sad or angry is not a good enough emotion, I feel like. But I get it.
Do you think there should be one more?
I feel like there should be at least one more.
One more.
And so we have the wow, we have the happy, we have the sad. You have the angry, but
so it's almost like what you would like is you'd be okay with the full range, but at the very end you want to dislike.
Yes, that's all I want. We have a like, and then we have something above a like. We have a love. So we have an angry. What's below an angry? I don't know. Give me a dislike. That's all. I mean, that's all I want. That's all anybody wanted. A simple rating system. And maybe the animation can come up and you see and just drops down flames from hell, engulf
that sounds like something Snapchat would do, actually.
Do
that on one of their video, and
I would like to say it. But that's just my own opinion about it. But I do use it as the week goes on, and actually as time goes on, I'm using it more and more actively. I'm retraining my brain to remember to hold something down if I actually want to acknowledge something differently than just a ha. But to finish my thought on this, you cannot give different response to comments. Comments, you can only like it to acknowledge it. You can't give a ha sad or anything.
Really? Huh.
Yes.
I haven't played with that yet. Yeah, that's too bad because you should be able to do that with the comments because you do. You have the like and the reply, and that like button should allow you to choose.
I tried nothing, but
that's an oversight. They need to fix that.
Yeah, but I think maybe another feature update. I know they're probably, this is now, it's out to the open, but I'm sure we might see some type of amendment. Like I think we're gonna see animation done on the desktop version of it. Right now it's just a simple, it comes up and you pick, as opposed to mobile, you see like the face laughing or what have you. I think we'll see some more things pushed, and maybe special occasions they'll have one like Merry Christmas and everything's Christmas decorated, or Halloween is you have a pumpkin that's laughing, or something more festive. I think they'll get creative with it and have
Yeah, I
different
think they
responses.
could definitely do that for sure. I've noticed that this past week using it, I actually spend a little bit more time thinking about how that post made me feel, and then like pull it up and like, okay, well, which one's appropriate? And so I actually spend a little bit more time trying to decide instead of just like and then scroll, 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 right? I'm
Right.
actually stopping and thinking about it a little bit more. So it's a little more engaging, I think.
Yeah, it's not so arbitrary. So talking about liking and scrolling, let's talk about cloud services and how we like them, or makes us angry or sad or wow.
You wouldn't happen to be talking about copy, would you?
I am talking about copy, and I don't have a proper response per a new Facebook like to tell you
Really
how I
angry?
feel about.
Angry wouldn't work for you?
No, that's too subtle.
Oh, all
I'm
right. Well,
upset.
let's hear your thoughts. Well, give us a little background, and then let's hear your thoughts.
So, for those of you who don't know, Copy is one of the cloud services that they offer. It's on mobile devices, it's on desktop, and it's a free service. You can pay to upgrade more storage, but you start off, I believe, 5, and then if you refer somebody and they accept it, you get 5 more. They get 5 more gigs, and so it it actually, I was able to build the storage for that one by referral base a lot faster and a lot more efficiently than I did all the other ones.
It's a
But
lot faster than the way Dropbox was doing it, for sure.
definitely, and if anybody is familiar with the service, if you have it, then this might not be news to you unless you don't check your emails. But one random flipping Tuesday, I get an email saying, "Hey, we're shutting down the cloud service for no real reason except they want to pursue different projects." So the actual company, which I can't even remember off the top of my head, that owns Copy.
I think it was Barracuda.
There it is. That's it. I knew if I heard it. Yep, that's it. So Barracuda, they just sent out an email. CEO said, "We appreciate our loyal customers for using our services, but we're going to discontinue it as a whole. They don't want to do the upkeep anymore." And that made me really upset because that was my primary cloud storage. Because I had so much space, I put all my photos in there. I put important documents in there, not sensitive information, but just important documents I would put in there. So I had it on the go, and everything, being cloud-based, I was able to put up on my phone and do what I needed to with ease, and then the exact same for desktop. And now every single day, unless I uninstall it, I get a little notification on the bottom right corner of my desktop saying, "Just so you know, we're going to discontinue Copy in May." I think I have it almost, I think it's May, beginning of May, end of May, sometime in May, it's being discontinued. And I get a notification every single day from it. And I guess I get it, stop it, because they want you to get ready to transition for it. And the way I feel about it is that, well, one, I kind of saw it coming because they haven't updated like their folder for Mac OS. It's still running what would look like from Mavericks and earlier than that.
I hate that. They're not the only ones that have done that, and it doesn't fit. It does not fit at all.
I know, you just see it, and I'm just like,
It bugs
when are
you.
you gonna update this? Yeah, I wondered when it was going to happen. When they stopped doing that, I was like, okay. And then to get the notification, I was like, well, that seems maybe fitting because they're ignoring it. But prosthetics alone, I don't care. What I cared about was the function, and I was utilizing it. And so for them to say, yeah, we're not going to do it anymore, it upset me a bit, because now I'm scurrying around trying to utilize Dropbox and OneDrive, and I have iCloud, and I actually pay for iCloud now as my new. I think iCloud's going to be my primary. But yeah, just the whole concept. I'm really upset. I wish I think if they would have pursued a different approach, maybe somebody would buy the company and pick up where they left off, or something, some type of internal purchase of sorts, something. Don't just like, no, we're going to shut it down. We're going to keep the domain, and it's going to be absolutely useless. It makes me feel a certain way. I don't like it. What about you? How do you feel?
Um, I'm not as fired up about it as you are because Copy's not my main cloud service. I use Dropbox as my main one.
Okay.
I've been using Dropbox since, man, probably day one when it first came out. So I'm pretty loyal there. I have switched back and forth between I've tried Google Drive and I've tried OneDrive and a little bit of iCloud I've played with. But I keep coming back to Dropbox at the end of the day. Copy was nice. I agree that I got up to like 30 gig real quick,
Right.
just real quick. You do the referrals and then you're up there. It does kind of irritate me that they went away because I did use it for like sharing large files. That's where I put my large files, and if I needed to share something out, that's where I did it. So with that going away, kind of puts a crunch on sharing large media.
Right.
And in order to continue to do that, I would need to pay for Dropbox or some of these other ones. And I don't know if I'm ready to quite do that yet.
So you're not paying for any cloud service at all?
I pay for iCloud. Their next tier, I think it's 20 gig for like $1 a month.
Yeah.
I pay for that just because of I keep all my photos in Photos for Mac, or what is it? It's iCloud photo sharing,
something like that. Yeah, it's shared. Yeah, iCloud photo sharing. iCloud photo sharing. That's what it's called.
Okay, so that's where all my photos live. So, and I have a lot of photos, so I needed to bump that up. So I pay for that. I don't pay for Dropbox. I think I have. Oh, I want to say it's only like 13 gig in Dropbox.
Okay.
And that's based on, they used to do, what did they used to do? They were called like a scavenger hunt, and you'd have to like do the scavenger hunt all across the internet and answer these just obscure questions. And as you would answer these questions, it would unlock more space, more free space for you.
Nice.
They stopped doing that. I don't know why they stopped doing it, but they did.
Too many people were unlocking stuff.
Yeah, probably. People were getting a lot of free space, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as fired up. If Dropbox went away, I would be real mad. The reason I stick with Dropbox is because the syncing is so good. It's instant, and it just works so well. And that's why I've always kept coming back to them, because I've had issues with OneDrive syncing, and I've had issues with Google Drive syncing.
Right.
They've gotten better now. I don't use them, so I can't really attest to how well they work. I know they were getting better when I was using them. But yeah, Dropbox is my go-to right now.
I have to agree with you 100% about Dropbox's syncing, because when I make videos and I need to get it on my phone somehow, I have to apologize if the banging people downstairs are hammering something in, so if that's getting picked up, my apologies. When I need to put something on my phone, which would be a video, and I've edited in Final Cut and I've done everything I needed to do on my desktop, I would take it, and I've tried all the other ones to see which one would be the most efficient at giving me my videos, and Dropbox does not compromise any of the quality of the footage. The file doesn't get corrupted, nothing. When I used the Google Drive, I would randomly get a glitch that would show up just for a quick second, like a frame. It just showed up and went away, and it irked me. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'd go back and I had to delete it and re-upload it, and I was trying it because my Gmail email is my primary I use for, my actual personal messages I have to send out via email, as opposed to like my Yahoo one is where I get all my junk. If I have to subscriptions and stuff like that, everything goes to my Yahoo. But I used Yahoo because I get the Dropbox. It's the inner links. So if the file's too big, it's going to put it in Dropbox automatically. So when I realized that the Google Drive wasn't working for me because I'd get a glitch, I tried the other one. I did try OneDrive. Same thing. I would, on a different frame though, later on in the video, I would get this glitch. And I would get so irritated about it because here I am spending so much time just when I was trying to put the final piece together. It's ready to go. I need it on my phone so I can post it on certain stuff that's only, you know, mobile exclusive. And I can't because my file keeps getting corrupt somehow, even if it's just the video, not the audio. And then here comes Dropbox and it just does it so smooth. I'm like, this is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm talking all this with the exclusion of copy. I use copy to transfer just like big files, all my films. Even if I'm working with somebody who's not in the same state, you know, like let's say you and me here, and I need to send you something, and it's a video. If I need to send you this video when we're done, I would have put it in copy, give it to you because it can hold it, and all that, you know, all that storage space that you got for referring people, I racked up 30, 35 relatively quickly as well. So I always had room on it, and now that it's gone, I ended up paying $3 a month for the iCloud service to have 200 gigs because I use photos in it, I use my video, I use all my notes. Actually, I use the iCloud now as my everything. And I know iCloud has a bad rep kind of right now recently in regards to the whole, within the last year and two, they were getting hacked and celebrity photos were leaking of, you know, nudies and stuff. But
iCloud services have always had any Apple online services have always had kind of a bad name. Apple is very famous, has been famously called the company that can't do online services. They've never been good at it. Now, photos just works. I mean, it works great. So whatever they did there works good. iCloud's still a little janky. I think their file sync, they do file sync a little bit differently. You don't have like the progress indicators like Dropbox has, and that's one of the really nice things about Dropbox. It puts a little check mark on there when it's done, and then you know it's like, okay, I'm good. It's up there. iCloud doesn't do that. They'll show progress of it uploading, and then after that, it's like, okay, well, is it there? Is it not? I don't know. I hope they get better with it, and I know they're going to have to, right? Because everything's going to the cloud nowadays.
Right. Well, I feel like now this whole thing with the FBI and that whole fiasco, I feel like maybe since the FBI can't get into it, allegedly.
Well, so that brings up a point. They can't get into the phone, but iCloud services, no problem. Apple has the encryption key to get in.
Yeah,
and they can hand over your iCloud data to law enforcement, no problem. So that's a little worrisome, right? But
yeah. Well, luckily I'm not putting my world domination plans in that folder, so I'm not have to worry about that.
Yeah, don't do that. Just keep it on the phone locally.
I do. Yeah, no. Local storage is the best way to do it because, you know, if I'm going to get hacked, they have to really work at it. Yeah. So I try really hard to actually keep anything, you know, when you talk about local drives or local computers, I don't want anything on my local computer, even though I know it's safer for the fact that, you know, security purposes. I embrace change very, very openly when it comes to technology. And when they said, you know, years and years ago that the cloud services was going to be the way to go, I went to it open minded. I was like, yes, this makes sense. And ever since then, that's why I have one of each. I'm not iCloud exclusive, Dropbox exclusive. I have one of each, though I don't like Google Drive. I don't care for OneDrive. And I do like Dropbox because it gave me my file the most you know, highest quality that I can put into it. I don't mind the other ones, but I like using the cloud services. So now I'm kind of like, okay, the smaller ones, I'll put my photos in that one, the bigger ones. And now I'm kind of forced to kind of delegate a little bit more. And I think maybe that's why I'm so fired up about copy, because it was so big. Yeah. I just had a folder for each, and I never worried about it.
I'm the same way. I don't want to have to deal with all these different ones. I don't want to be like, okay, my photos are here, but my vacation photos are over here because they were too big to fit into this one with my other photos, and my financial documents are here, but my personal other documents are here. I don't want to have to think about that. I want a folder structure on one cloud service that I can get to everything.
Exactly. That's
And
all we want.
yeah, I mean, it's that simple. And I want a lot of storage. I want to have a lot of overhead. I don't want to be bumping up to the top like, so I just looked it up. My Dropbox is 13.6 gig, and I'm pretty close to filling that up. I don't want to be pretty close to filling that up. I want to have a lot of extra space just in case. You never know when something might come up, right?
So what are you going to do? What's going to be your substitute for copy now? What's your plan?
My plan is Dropbox. I really, that's the one that I've always stuck with, and I think I'm going to continue to stick with them. We're using their new service called Paper.
Yeah.
The beta of that for all.
And it works wonderfully. I love it.
It works great, right? And so if I am going to pay for something, it's probably going to be Dropbox, and it's to keep stuff like Paper around, because Paper is a lot like Google Wave was. And Google Wave got killed, and that's not cool. We used Google Wave quite a bit when we were in the Marine Corps, when we were going through. We were doing our Network Plus or Security Plus and stuff. Our group, the data group, we sat there with our laptops and we had Google Wave up, and we were taking notes, and we were sharing all those notes while we were in class. So all four of us that were in the class had everything right there, and it was good. It was good to share that knowledge, and that's how Paper is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really leery about companies that create something really cool and then just kill it. And Google's famous for this, right? Google just kills off stuff. Apple too. Apple does it on the hardware side of things, right? They got rid of 3.5 floppies, CD-ROM. Well, what's a CD-ROM, right? I mean, those have been dead for a while. But yeah, I think Dropbox is going to be my go-to.
I don't think Dropbox is going to have the same outcome that happened with Google Wave, only because it's a separate company. And I think something that's, Google is a giant company, just like Apple or Microsoft. So I think they feel like they can afford to do little kills of little things like here and there.
They have. So do you remember Carousel?
Yes.
That was their like photo albums and sharing thing. They killed that. They didn't get any traction, right? And so that was probably a smart move, right? Okay, we're not really getting any traction with it. Nobody's really using it. So let's point our resources elsewhere. And it looks like they pointed it towards Paper, and Paper's way more useful, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Paper, because there's a niche for that. There's a need for that. Because besides the Google Wave service, there's not really another one out there that has that same lifetime update. People can work on it, whoever you share it with. And I think
Google Docs kind of took some of that in, right? They kind of took some of that, but it's not as free form as Google Wave was, or as Paper is. Because Paper's it's so easy just to throw a picture in there, or throw checkboxes in there. It's a lot more robust than what Google Docs is. Google Docs it's basically Word, but in a web browser, right?
Right.
And yeah, you can live edit it. You can see what other people are typing and stuff. But for what we're doing, Paper's just so much better.
Right. Here's a link, click it, you're there, and then you can edit all you want. Yep. Anything Google related, there's a 5-step process just to start a broadcast. And we swallow it and tolerate it for now because we haven't found a more efficient tool to help us just yet. But yeah, Paper, here's the link. When you get the link, that means you're obviously in it. You can view it, you can edit it, you can create, delete, and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I don't know. All right, so let's move on to talking about our favorite company in the whole wide world, the Apple.
Yes.
The Big Apple. And let's talk about one of their better products, the MacBook. And I'm not talking about the new MacBook. I'm just talking about the MacBook line. And
oh, come on. I'm showing off the new one.
Oh, okay. Well, you're one of the very
No, no,
few.
no, no.
Let it be known, though, I do want the record show that Mike really does like the MacBook, not the MacBook Pro, not the MacBook Air. He likes the MacBook. He put up his MacBook Pro and Air for sale, which it sold, right? You sold them?
The Air sold. The Pro is still up on eBay.
Interesting. I thought it would be the other way around.
Yeah, me too, actually. But
yeah. So Mike chose to keep the MacBook over Pro and Air. Why, you might ask? Because it works for his convenience. Because really what he has is the 5K iMac, so that's his powerhouse right there. And his MacBook, MacBook is his, go around. But he's like the only guy that I know who says, yeah, I really like my MacBook. And the more I use it, the more I like it. And so I think it's refreshing to hear you say that, but you're the only one. I think you're a lone wolf in that.
no, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
I probably would get a MacBook if we see. Actually, I'm gonna hold my tongue. We'll save that one for another topic, depending on what will happen with just MacBook later. But I'll save that one for June.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the future of MacBook Air and MacBook Pro as a whole.
Let's do it.
So, MacBook is the newest or maybe a revamped of the MacBook before we had back when it was more of a square, not the widescreen one. There was MacBook. It was the white plastic covered one.
Yes, the plastic MacBook.
Yes, that was the first MacBook before iBook, or it was after iBook. But so you have MacBook, and then years later, then they transition out of it because we have MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. Here are your MacBooks, and then here's iMac. And then now we got MacBook again. The future of MacBook Air and Pro and how it competes, or how it, Apple loves to cannibalize its own sales. They have one bottom line. Instead of saying, hey, iPhone is killing the iPod sales, they don't care. They don't see it's like, oh, it's cannibalizing sales, because they say we only have one bottom line. That's based off of all the products that we sell. So they're very big on, killing their own products in a very unintentional manner, because the way they see it is that we have a product for every single type of person. So they don't care if iPods don't sell, because they really, hey, no, the iPhone's going to sell, but people just want an iPod. And they do that all the time. And now the MacBook line, I think, is getting just as saturated, because we got MacBook Pro, 13-inch, MacBook Pro, 15-inch. You have MacBook Air, 13-inch, and then
yes, and 11.
And 11-inch. And then you have MacBook. And I mean, if we're going to push it further and just talk about the operating system and stuff, then you got iMac. And with an iMac, you got 27-inch. And then you got iMac, the 21.5-inch. And then you got Mac Pro. So you got 8 different Mac OS hardware.
Don't forget the Mac Mini.
And then the Mac Mini. That was such a good concept. And then the latest model, because you can't, open it and.
Yeah, but you can't open the MacBooks or anything like that either.
Yeah, but the Mac Mini is meant to be like a transitional thing to put you into, the Mac line. If you get a MacBook Pro, you're putting a lot of money into it.
No, the thing about the Mac Mini is it's the perfect server cabinet computer. So it's lower end,
right?
And you can shove it into your entertainment center, and you can run a Plex server on it. It can be headless. You don't need a monitor or anything. You can remote into it and do whatever you need. And it kind of fills that small little niche of people that need that. And I've considered getting one just for that fact that it's small. It'll fit right into the cabinet, and then you don't even have to think about it. It just kind of goes away.
But now you have something way better, the iMac.
Yes, but if there are some tasks that you may not want to have the iMac running, you might want to push a lot of the downloading and the handling of files and stuff. I don't really want to do that on the iMac. I want to push that off to another computer and let that computer do that heavy lifting. Let that run the server. If it needs to transcode 3 or 4 videos to 3 or 4 different devices, let that one take all the load, because I want my iMac pristine for when I'm sitting at it and working on it. I don't want it bogged down by trying to do other things server side. So that's kind of where the Mac Mini fits in.
I feel like that. I mean, I completely forgot. So we got a total of 9 because I forgot about the Mac Mini. I get it; it's there. But another prime example, the Mac Mini isn't really selling because it's such a small niche for. It's almost like it's like the iPad Pro. We don't really know what it's for yet, but somebody has a use for it. Mac Mini, I feel like the way I saw it in a lot more simplistic way than server stuff was that I don't know if I want to get an Apple product. Hey, there's a Mac Mini. It's not an arm and a leg to get, so I'll buy it, and if I like it, because I already got a Dell monitor. Oh, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
okay,
and that's where it's supposed to fit in. Is in that arena where it's like, okay, well, you just buy this little Mac,
yeah,
and you already have a keyboard, a mouse, and
exactly.
a monitor, so you just plug it in. Hey, look, now you have a Mac to go along with your iPhone. Very
Right.
cool. And then look, it only costs you $500 to get in, right? So that's where it's supposed to fill, but where it shines is where I was talking about.
Right. Yeah.
That's
I guess I
where
don't like it. Oh, go ahead.
that's where like the Mac heads really that is a really great product for those guys, and I consider myself one of those because I would love to have one. I've had one before, and I really liked it for that purpose, just to have a computer sitting off in a closet somewhere where you can offload stuff to and let that handle it.
Right. So I kind of went on a tangent about all these different Mac lines because there's so much of it that I want to talk about the Pro and the Air.
Bring it back. Bring it back in.
We're bringing it back in now. So how can we keep an Air and a Pro product relevant? Well, if they're not going to kill them off, which I don't see it happening, or maybe the Air, maybe. The rumors of a bigger screen iPad Air feels like it's supposed to now go hand in hand with a MacBook Pro, but without the Pro features, the Pro processor. So the way I see it, a MacBook Air is meant to be your ultra thin, portable, on-the-go computer that you're not supposed to do heavy-duty stuff on. You don't game on it. You don't render 4K video on it. I mean, you might want to try spec it out as much as you can, but at that point, with the cost that would to do that, you're better off getting a MacBook Pro that's built for that stuff. Or I have no idea about that. I don't know what the MacBook itself can do because I've just never played with it. But MacBook Pro is designed for the Pro.
Surprisingly, a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I have yet to get my hands on it. I will play with yours when I see it in the next few months, and so I can really test its power. But anyway, I digress. The MacBook Air, to make it relevant, which I feel like they're going to keep it around because, again, a niche.
Price point.
Price point.
That's why it's a lower price point.
It's a lower price point.
And here's the problem with it calling it the Air. The MacBook is way smaller than it.
I know.
And the airline originally was, Steve Jobs famously came in and he pulled it out of the envelope. Remember?
Right.
He had the Mac and he opened up the inner office envelope and he just slid it out and he's like, look at this thing, And that was like the big thing. And it was like, wow, look at how small that is. Look at how thin it is. Right. And they really are pushing the boundaries, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's kind of the Air is taken over as almost like the workhorse MacBook line, right? It's where everyone goes. Everyone who doesn't want to do the Pro and spend the money on a Pro, they go to the MacBook Air. And the MacBook Airs are pretty well powered. I think that they are going to have to change the name unless they make it thinner than the MacBook.
Well, there would be a conflict of interest then. I get, branding wise, changing the name or make it thinner. But then does it not defeat the purpose of then the MacBook then and what it has to do with, hey, your MacBook is as big as your keyboard right here. So here's your keyboard and everything's bunched in and there you have it. You got one port, your USB-C, and that's your catch-all for everything, and that thing is light. So you have or had now the MacBook Air and the MacBook. Which one's lighter?
The MacBook.
Okay. Which one's faster? Granted, I know you have an older model of the Air, but
So the Air was an older model, but it was I had maxed it out. I spec'd it all the way out when I got it. So it had a Core i7 and it was 4 gig of RAM. So the MacBook Air was definitely more powerful CPU wise.
Resolution and display. Which one's better?
MacBook by far. It's a Retina display, right? It's
Right.
a 12-inch Retina display. So the screen on it is awesome. It's so crystal clear. Way better than the MacBook Air.
Apple, I feel it's very un-Apple-ish. We need to keep it more simple. Should kill MacBook Air. Just kill it.
Yeah, so and that's kind of what I think they'll do. They'll get rid of the Air line, and it'll all become MacBook. But what they'll do is they'll do MacBook 12-inch, and then they'll do a MacBook like probably 14-inch. So you have a 12 and a 14, which will take over the 11 and the 13.
Right.
It'll be Retina. It'll be thin. You'll have your MacBook, and then you'll have your MacBook Pros. And they'll go back to just having two.
Just having two.
2 lines. That's my assumption.
I think they should do it only because as of right now, today, we don't know what's going to happen, obviously, later on in the year. What purpose does the Air have?
Price
Sincerely.
point. Price point. I mean, that's – and so this goes back to this is like Tim Cook's Apple. And so he likes to keep stuff around longer because it's still selling well, right? Like Steve Jobs would be like, oh, look at this MacBook. It's so much better. We're going to kill the Air, and then all you get is the MacBook. That's it, guys. You only get this. No more MacBook Air. It's gone. We're done with it, right? Mm-hmm. Tim Cook's like, well, you know, this one compromises. It only has one port. It's a slower processor. So let's introduce it and show everyone where we're going. But let's keep the Air around too. And we'll keep it at the lower price point. You know, we'll drop it a couple $100. And you can still buy it. We'll upgrade it. You know, we'll give it a little faster processor and, you know, the new trackpad and all that. And we'll keep it around. But the MacBook, this is where we're going, guys. This is the future. And so we're going to take this and bring it across the entire line. Slowly, but that's what we're going to do.
I think you are almost there, hitting the nail on the head, but there's one part of the story you're forgetting.
Okay.
My sixth sense is telling me this is what happened. One day, Apple had their weekly meeting, and they're talking about products. And then you have Johnny Ive, what we have here is, and he starts talking about the luxury of this MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, all demos, and here's the prototype. And Steve Jobs said, why do we have a white plastic piece of crap MacBook when we can have aluminum, everything?
Aluminum.
Kill this. Yeah, right. No, I'm American.
Come on. It's Johnny Ive. If you're doing the Johnny Ive voice, you got to say aluminium.
I know, but I'm Steve Jobs. So
okay.
Carry on. We're going to kill the MacBook. And Tim Cook in the corner eating his little power bar goes, what? And he's like, yeah, we're going to kill the MacBook. And for whatever reason, Tim Cook has a personal connection with the MacBook. And he said, no. And then in 2011, Steve Jobs says, Cook, you're head honcho. Steve, thank you so much for this responsibility. In October, he waited until rest in peace. He waited until he passed away. And then he said, no. First board meeting, he says, in 4 to 6 years, no later than 4 personally, I want my MacBook back. But we're not going to have a white plastic shell or a casing. We're going to have everything aluminum. And from there, we're going to bring that back. And then we're going to kill off the Air and everything else because this is my Apple now, Steve. Mine. And now Cook has the last laugh. Now he has a thinner, lighter, better screen. Oh, yeah. How's that Air, Steve? And now he has his MacBook. He gets the last laugh. And so I think it's a spiteful move that Tim said, no, I never liked the Air. It's useless. It's get rid of it because I'm your boss. I said so. That's my story.
Wow. Wow. I don't think that's at all how it went down, but good story.
That's my version of it.
Okay.
But right. I'm completely in favor of killing off the Air. Hell, call the MacBook Air if you want to. I don't know. The way I see it, they're going to kill off iPad Air too. I think the Air era is going to go away. I think
I think we're past that. Yeah, I think we're past that. I think they just let the Airs go and you just move on. They serve their purpose, right? I mean, they paved the way for the future. The MacBook Air definitely. He pulls it out of the envelope. Look at that. It's so tiny. And then the MacBook comes out. It's like, God, that's even smaller. I mean, who knows what we're going to have in 10 years, right? It just keeps getting better and better. And so, yeah, I think the Air is going.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I think the MacBook Air is just RIP right now.
I think one day we're going to get the MacBook Paper. And then there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, again, kill the Air, keep the Pro line. There's your Pro line. There's your average consumer line.
And one point on the Pro line, too. I think those are going to get revamped. They're going to get the new Skylake processor. Skylake? I think it's Skylake. The new Intel Skylake processors. They're still the Core series, but it's the Skylake generation. So they're better on battery consumption. They're just all around better processors, right? It's taken Intel a little bit to get these off the floor right now. So hopefully sometime this year Skylake will come out. I think when Skylake does hit, they have revamped Pros as well. And I think they're going to be thinner and they're going to be lighter. They'll still have a 15-inch. They'll probably have a 13-inch as well. But they are going to be a new body design.
Okay. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, Mr. Davis, send us off with your personal story.
Yeah. So this past week, I've been setting up my iMac. And one of the things you got to do when you set up the iMac is get iTunes up and running, right?
Of course.
We all hate iTunes. We could do a whole show on the bloatware that is iTunes and all the crap they put into it, and we could talk about
the notes.
Yeah, add it to the notes because we probably do need to talk about that because they need to rewrite iTunes from the ground up like they did with Photos. But that's a whole nother show. So
right, I'm writing it down though for real.
Okay, good.
I
was setting up the iMac, and it allows you to authorize 5 Macs to access your account. Well, I had already maxed out all 5, and I couldn't reset it because you can only reset it once a year. And I had already reset it once. So I sent iTunes support an email and said, hey guys, here's my situation. I'm just need to get this reset so I can add my new iMac to my account and I can play all my music and stuff. They sent back an email and said, okay, we went ahead and we deauthorized the 5 computers you had on there, so go ahead and re-add the new ones and everything. So I went and I checked, made sure it all worked. It did, no problem. I sent them an email back. I said, hey, this works great, guys. I really appreciate what you did. And they sent back an interesting email to me, and I'm going to read it. It's a short email, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. So it says, hi, Michael. I'd like to say that you're welcome. I'm glad that out of hundreds of customers we send emails to every day, someone appreciates the effort we put into trying to provide the highest quality of customer service. A simple thank you is really touching. Michael, customers like you are the reason why we strive to do the best at our jobs. So feel free to send us an email for any concerns that you may have with the iTunes Store, and we'll be honored to help. I wish you the best. Sincerely, Stephanie from the iTunes Store customer support. I got that email. I was blown away. I was like, wow, that is so cool. It's like me telling them thank you. It's almost like something that they don't get a lot. And it could be a canned email, but I don't think it's really a canned email. I think she actually took the time to write this email out and was like, we put up with a lot of people, a lot of angry people, I'm sure. Any IT support, you got mad people you're dealing with, right? I would know. I dealt with it at the regiment all the time. So I know what it's like. And so for me, telling them that, I really appreciate everything that they did to help me out. And it was something so simple, right? But she still spent the time to write the email and send it to me. It really was very cool. And I just wanted to highlight it here on the show.
I think it's really awesome though, because it's the famous Apple customer experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it goes way beyond after, you swipe your card or give cash over that, oh, now the customer experience ends. And I like hearing stories like that because I based so much off of what I do on my, being an entrepreneur and working with people and kind of freelancing on customer experience, that I always make an effort to go above and beyond after a transaction is completed, to check up on people and see how they're doing, and really focus on the quality of the whole ecosystem, even in my own field of stuff. And it's stories like this and getting an email like that. I am with you. I don't think it was some random generated and fill your name here and that was it, because stories like this come out all the time about Apple's, hey, these guys helped me out, and they take that time. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like on the birthday subject, that somebody took the time to say something to me, I'm gonna take the time to say something to them. And that's kind of what happened. You said, hey, I need help. They took the time. Then you took the time to say thank you. And then they're like, hey, thank you. So it was a very selfless back and forth you guys are doing. And I think right here shows, how much of a class act that they really are when it comes to, the whole experience, everything. Something as small and minute as an email saying, hey, can you help me? And you get something like this to the point where you remember. My own personal experience, not unfortunately, I don't have a record to share, but my own personal experience is every time I've ever needed to do something, when I was buying my iMac, I was torn. I was legit torn. I didn't know if I wanted to get the 5K. Should I just get a MacBook Pro? Maybe I should just get the 21.5 inch and stick with a 4K because it's 4K. Who's going to notice another K? I was torn. So I went to do an online chat with somebody to see if they can help me out, because I had some questions. I had some spec questions. Hey, what's the difference between this one and that one? And this guy comes on, and his name is Michael. I mean, I thought it was you for a second.
Great name.
Great name. Strong name.
Yes.
And so Michael here was very, very detailed and articulate in his responses and helping me out and making sure that all my questions were answered. He never rushed me. He, if he was maybe unsure about something, he kind of re-asked the question. Maybe in a simpler way, or maybe in a different way. He would ask it, hey, is this what you mean? Yes or no? And I tell him, but the whole time, it just felt like I was just having a simple back and forth conversation. He was very timely about it. It wasn't like, wait, and all of a sudden the little 3 dots come up, and then, oh, here's your message, go to here, go start. No, he was like, hey, what I suggest you do is you do this, pop, 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 pop. And when it came to the specs, he would not only didn't answer my question, but then he would provide a reference of where he got that from, saying, hey, based off of right here and right here. I mean, the thing was just, I was like, hey, great. I was having a great conversation. I was like, hey, so how's your night going? He's like, it's going pretty good. And so he actually had a quick little conversation with me. But at that point, my answer, he's like, did I answer all your questions? And is there anything else you need from me? Don't hesitate to call us. The whole thing. And then when I tell him, like, I'm not sure, he goes, I wish you the best of luck on your new purchase of your new Mac line, and don't forget to give us a call if you have any questions. Just the whole thing, really nice. And I model a lot of what I do when it comes to customer experience stuff from Apple, from experiences like what I went through, or your email, and then many stories beyond that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any save rounds? Do you have anything else you want to add before we end it here?
I don't think I do.
All right, cool. I don't have any save rounds. I will. Let me make sure. I'm checking the notes real quick. All right, this is the part I'm going to cut out when I edit. So, no. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. As always, if you are watching this on YouTube, Links to everything is in the description down below. If you are listening to us, links to our YouTube channel is in the description of wherever you're listening this at. Thank you for being a part of conversations. If you have any suggestions for us, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, drop us a line. We would love to hear from you. We like to get back to you in a very timely manner as well. That, you know, that whole experience thing we are just talking about. But as always, thank you for your time. And until possibly next week, unless something crazy happens between now and then, we will talk to you then.
See you, everyone.
Bye.